everybody and welcome back to my channel. Now today's video is going to be the no makeup brush or sponges makeup challenge. Now this is the makeup that I came up with from you obviously using no brushes and stuff, and I'm not gonna lie guys, it was very difficult. I think the only thing that I really dislike about it is the foundation and the look on the skin, because I don't think it's that flawless, but oh well. I really hope you guys enjoy the video, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So starting off with primer, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Primer. I personally love this primer. I find it really nice and mattifying. So I'm just applying this all over my face. Next I'm mixing foundations, and this is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum in the shade 52 Vanilla and the Maybelline Matte and Flawless Fit Me Foundation in the shade 120. So one is slightly too dark and one's slightly too light, so that's why I'm mixing the two. And then what I'm going to do is just place it straight onto the face. Now I never ever apply foundation with that brush, so this is a bit weird. It shouldn't look too bad. I feel like your foundation is like the one thing in your makeup that you kind of need to apply with a brush. I mean, you don't need to, but I find you get a much more flawless finish when you apply it with a brush. I also find with your hands you can get quite light coverage. Some people may dislike that, some may prefer it. It doesn't really look like I put any product on my face, I'm not gonna lie, but I do prefer applying it with a sponge because you do get more of like a full coverage. Next on to concealer, I'm using the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age The Eraser Eye Concealer, and this is in the shade Nude, and I'm just applying this underneath the eyes. I've never used this concealer, so this is a new one for me, and then I'm just gonna blend that in with my finger. I'm just like dabbing at this instead of rubbing it. I definitely feel like your base is one area where you need to use some sort of brush applicator or sponge or something if you want that flawless base. So now that's all rubbed in, I'm moving on to powder, and I feel as though this is going to be really tricky because I don't know how I'm supposed to set my under eyes using my finger, but I'm just rubbing my finger in the powder and then pressing it on, but it actually just looks like it's taking all the product off. So for bronzer, I'm using this L'Oreal Glam Bronze Cushion Bronzer because I feel like a liquid bronzer is the easiest option when you don't have any makeup brushes. So if you don't have any makeup brushes, I definitely opt for liquid products and cream products because they're obviously much easier to blend out than powders. So I'm just tapping this onto my cheeks. This isn't the greatest application, but also the thing is, if you have too much product on your hand, brushes and sponges tend to soak it up, whereas obviously your fingers aren't gonna soak up product. So if you apply too much, you may look a little bit cakey. I honestly don't know how people apply makeup without makeup brushes. Right, so that's bronzer on. I'm now using the L'Oreal Palette Paris Infallible Sculpt Contouring Kit. And I'm just gonna kind of rub it back and forth. As you can see, I'm opting for cream products because they're obviously much easier to blend out with your finger. I feel like I've just got so much product all over my hands, it's so gross. I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm absolutely hating how this is looking at the moment. So for brows, I'm just using a brow pencil, and I personally hate pencils because I find you cannot get a precise application with them. Well, this one you can't anyway, but this is just the MUA brow pencil. I normally have much darker brows than this as well, which is a bit weird. Oh my god, that eyebrow looks appalling. For blush, I'm using this Ted Baker blush and just applying it to the cheeks and then rubbing it in with my fingers. Then for highlight, I'm using the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle. I sometimes feel as though highlight is actually really nice to apply with your finger. I'm also going to use this on the eyes as a eyeshadow. Next I'm using the Naked 2 palette and just picking up the shade Tease and applying it on my outer corner of the eye. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I'm just placing the shade on the outer corner and then kind of trying to run it through my crease and then blending it upwards. Now taking this dark shade called Busted and doing the same thing. I feel as though eyeshadow is definitely the hardest part. Now for mascara, I'm using the Maybelline Colossus Volume Express mascara. Obviously you have to use a brush for mascara, how can you not? For lips, I'm using this MUA Luxe Whipped Velvet kind of liquid lipstick in the shade Spry, is that? But I mean, the bronzer and the highlight and the blush doesn't even look that bad because they were cream products. So this is the finished makeup look, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it that much. I think just because I know my makeup can look a lot better with when I use brushes, but obviously you don't have to use brushes to get a flawless like makeup look. Maybe for your foundation. I think when you apply your foundation with your fingers, it's very a sheer coverage. I personally don't really like too much of a sheer coverage, so I don't like how it looks because it looks like I've got no foundation on, so I just think it's a bit pointless putting it on in the first place. But obviously if you like that, then you don't need like a brush foundation. The only reason I don't like it is because I feel it looks a little bit patchy. I think for eyeshadow you definitely need a brush. If you're just putting a shade on the lid, you can get away with it, but if you're putting any crease shades in, you 100% need a brush. If you're starting with makeup and you want to get into eyeshadow, just buy any cheap eyeshadow brush because you can't do eyeshadow without it unless it's like a paint pot or something like that. But I do not like the eyeshadow. Obviously the brows, I personally hate the brows, but then I don't like eyebrow pencils, so that's why. I mean, apart from the foundation and the fact that my face looks quite patchy and maybe not as blended as it could be, it doesn't look that bad. I think when you're starting out with makeup, definitely invest in, you don't have to invest, like brushes are so cheap. Like I have the Lorac brush set. This is a brush from the Lorac set. The Lorac set you can get on Amazon for £10 and you get 10 brushes. You 5 face brushes and 5 eyeshadow brushes, which I think is amazing because even if you're just starting out makeup, I really recommend getting that set because they're actually such good quality brushes. Like, say one bad thing about them, they're so good. If you're just starting out with makeup, I would definitely get a foundation brush unless you personally really like applying your foundation with your fingers, and then obviously I would recommend getting like a bronzer brush, but most people just like powder bronzers, so you don't want to have to buy a liquid bronzer just because you don't have a brush. So they're not really expensive at all. You can get bronzer brushes anywhere. Like Superdrug have their own brand of makeup brushes which are really good. So I definitely recommend getting a foundation brush, a bronzer brush, if you want to wear bronzer, obviously. If not, you don't need one. And then some sort of eyeshadow brush. And I think if you have them free brushes, I think you'll be fine, because a bronzer brush, I use my bronzer brush for bronzer. Oh my god, I've said that word so many times. I use it for bronzer and blush, and I could use it for highlight. So I think brushes can be very versatile if you pick the right ones. So I will never ever be applying a whole face of makeup without a makeup brush again, because I don't like the outcome. But if it works for you, it works for you. But I'm just trying to prove that if you're new to makeup and just wanting to kind of buy products to get into makeup, you don't need to buy a full set of brushes. You only need 2 or 3 and you'll be good to go. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of discovered that you don't need many makeup brushes, if any, to do your makeup. So yeah, give it a big thumbs up if you did enjoy. Comment down below any videos you'd like me to do. The next couple of weeks, I don't yet know whether there's going to be 1 or 2 videos a week. Normally I obviously upload 2 videos a week, but as I've got my English exam next week, deadlines for my other lessons, and then I'm going on holiday, so it's going to be really tricky for me to get 2 videos up in them couple of weeks, so there may only be one video for the next couple of weeks, but when I'm back from holiday on the 1st of July, there will 100% be lots more videos coming your way, because obviously it's now summer and that's super exciting, so I'm so excited for that. So I'm really sorry that's going to be a lack of videos in the next few weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!